Welcome back to the BodyMaitre podcast. I'm your host, Derek, and today we continue our unfolding journey into the deeper layers of human consciousness in our series, How Bad Guys Work. In this season, we're exploring not how others hurt us, but how harmful behaviors develop inside a person. We're studying the roots, the psychological, emotional, energetic, and spiritual origins of people who harm others, intentionally or unintentionally. So far, we've explored the betrayer, the manipulator, and the gaslighter. And today we look into an archetype almost everyone has encountered, the liar. Why do people lie? On the surface, lying looks simple, a choice to avoid truth. But when you examine it deeper, lying is rarely a conscious decision to harm. Lying is a psychological shield, a survival mechanism, a protection strategy, a defense against discomfort. Some lies are big, some are small, some are unnecessary, and some are so automatic the liar doesn't even know they're doing it. But all lies have one thing in common. They protect something the liar is afraid to face. Lying is not born from strength. Lying is born from fear, shame, immaturity, insecurity, and four bodies misalignment. Let me share a simple story that shows how lying works. Imagine this. Your partner promised they would handle an important payment. You trusted them. You relaxed into that sense of shared responsibility. A few days later, you receive a message from the bank. Payment overdue. You gently say, "I thought you said you paid this." Instead of admitting the truth, they quickly respond, "Of course I paid. The bank must have made a mistake." You check again. There was no payment. You show them the message and they say, "I don't know why it's showing like that. Maybe the system is delayed. Stop stressing. I told you I handled it. A simple 'I forgot' would have solved everything." But instead, they create a false story. Not because they wanted to deceive you, but because the truth triggers something deeper inside them. Fear of being criticized, fear of being judged, fear of disappointing you, fear of being exposed, fear of losing their image, fear of losing control. The lie becomes a shield, a protective layer over an uncomfortable truth. And over time, shield after shield, lie after lie, small distortions grow into patterns of self-protection at the cost of trust. People lie to avoid conflict, to avoid consequences, to avoid shame, to avoid responsibility, to preserve their image, to escape emotional discomfort, to hide their wounds. But underneath all of these reasons are deeper four bodies patterns. So we again turned to the BodyMaitre four bodies dowsing charts and asked Spirit and the Collective Angelic Team, what are the most common collective consciousness patterns behind habitual liars? And what four bodies distortions make lying a default behavior? Here are the findings. First, the physical body shows a pattern of being defenseless. The physical body of a liar often shows a pattern of being defenseless. This means the person feels physically vulnerable or exposed when confronted with truth. Their instinct is to defend themselves by creating lies, not because they want to deceive, but because they feel they have no inner shield to handle confrontation. Lying becomes a reflexive protection mechanism. Next, the spiritual body carries psychic viruses, programs, influences, or distortions that compromise clarity and integrity. These psychic viruses feed patterns like dishonesty, avoidance, fear, and distortion. They cloud judgment, weaken spiritual alignment, and make truth feel heavy or threatening. Under these influences, lying becomes easier than honesty. Then, the emotional body is scared. The emotional body holds intense fear. Fear of being exposed, fear of being judged, fear of being criticized, fear of disappointing others, fear of not being good enough. Because these fears feel overwhelming, the liar avoids them by bending truth. Their emotional system reads honesty as danger, and lying becomes the escape route. Finally, the mental body is attached to drama. The mental body is often attached to drama. This includes exaggeration, storytelling, shock value, attention-seeking, or creating emotional intensity. These patterns make lying feel exciting, distracting, or useful for controlling a narrative. Drama gives the liar a sense of identity and control when they feel lost internally. When we put these findings together, a clear pattern appears. The physical body feels defenseless and exposed. The spiritual body carries psychic viruses that distort truth. The emotional body is scared of judgment and exposure. And the mental body is attached to drama and narrative control. Together, these patterns create a person who feels unsafe with honesty. They fear the discomfort that truth brings. They fear consequences. They fear losing control. So lying becomes their safety mechanism, not because they enjoy deception, but because their four bodies cannot hold the weight of honesty. In BodyMaitre, lying is not seen as a flaw, but as a symptom of deeper wounds and misalignment. Now, if you're watching or listening and you feel any resonance with these patterns, whether you've encountered liars, grown up with liars, or even noticed these tendencies within yourself, let's take a moment to release these programs with Spirit, your high self, and the Collective Angelic Team. You may speak this softly or just listen and follow along with intention. For the physical body pattern of defenselessness, Spirit, high self, and Collective Angelic Team, I request assistance to release, clear, and dissolve all patterns of defenselessness in my physical body. I release the fear of confrontation, exposure, and vulnerability. Please strengthen my physical body with courage, presence, and grounded honesty. For the spiritual body pattern of psychic viruses, Spirit, high self, and Collective Angelic Team, I request the removal and cleansing of all psychic viruses, distortions, and influences that compromise my spiritual clarity and integrity. Please restore my spiritual body to purity, alignment, and truth frequency. For the emotional body pattern of being scared, Spirit, high self, and Collective Angelic Team, I release all fear-based emotional programs. Fear of being judged, fear of being criticized, fear of being exposed, fear of disappointing others. Guide my emotional body into safety, calmness, and the courage to be truthful. For the mental body attachment to drama, Spirit, high self, and Collective Angelic Team, I release the mental body attachment to drama, exaggeration, storytelling, and chaos. Please return my mind to clarity, simplicity, and peaceful truth. Take a deep breath and allow these patterns to lift from your field. Thank you for joining me in this fourth episode of How Bad Guys Work. Today, we explored the liar, the emotional, mental, energetic, and spiritual patterns that push someone to distort truth even when they don't need to. And we also released these patterns together. In our next episode, we explore another draining archetype. Episode 5, The Emotional Vampire, Why Some People Drain Others Without Realizing It. Until then, stay conscious, stay aware, and take care of your four bodies.